Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me here at Unapologetically Progressive. Now today another update on Social Security, and it's a change that's going to really affect a lot of people, especially the elderly or disabled people that cannot leave their homes. And it's another one of those things where they just want to do things to hurt people. That's all this administration has done. They haven't done anything to actually help the American people, and they never will. All they've done is attack the poor and make it harder for the elderly and disabled to function in this country. So what they're going to do here, in the guise of protecting against fraud, is you're not going to be able to verify your information, your identity information, over the phone anymore. If you need to, call in and change your direct deposit and things like that, you're now going to have to go into the office to make those changes. Now, think about it. How is this not detrimental to the elderly people? Many elderly people that receive Social Security can't leave their homes very well. It's not easy for them to do so. Right? It requires a lot of extra effort just to get there. Many cities don't even have local Social Security offices. You have to drive 20, 30, 45, miles to, even 100 miles away to get to a Social Security office in some places. How's somebody that's elderly and, say, on oxygen or otherwise stuck at home supposed to do this? I used to live in a complex called Independence Manor in Nacogdoches, Texas. And in that particular place, it allowed for disabled people to function, in society and function in their apartment complex alone and away from other people having to control their lives. It was a great place for that. But unfortunately, I knew a lot of people that lived in this place that were bedridden, that could not leave home. How are those people supposed to be able to get their information changed if they have to go into the office? I used to know a guy that had such terrible emphysema that he would go into fits, which caused a lot of things that you don't want to know about going on, which required lots of help to clean up and make sure he was okay. Yet, these people still want to do this kind of stuff. Elderly people and retirees don't deserve this. Yes, I understand you want to protect against fraud, but how about you go after the actual fraudsters? There's not a huge contingent of people out there calling into Social Security and changing people's Social Security payment information. There are ways that we could go about dealing with this, same way they do bank accounts, mortgages, and credit cards that you apply for on the internet. Like Social Security, whenever I wanted to get into Social Security, they ask you a series of questions that you have to set yourself. Your first pet, your first car, where were you on 9/11? These are things that they ask on several places. Social Security, they ask you at banks, they ask you at credit card applications. They ask you all sorts of things, from your mother's maiden name, these are things that are done by Social Security already to protect your identity. And unless you're just out there blabbing that to everybody, nobody's going to know. And no one's going to be able to get into your account. Not without a hack. So all I believe this is going to do is hurt the elderly population. I don't believe people that are elderly deserve to have to deal with extra steps and extra barriers to getting their Social Security check. Most people in Social Security paid into Social Security their entire lives. A small minority that receive a Social Security check through SSI are the few people that didn't. But a lot of those people are so disabled that they cannot leave their homes. Now, what's interesting is these two programs are paid through different means, but they're run by the same organization. They're all run through Social Security. Therefore, this will affect everybody that receives any kind of SSI check. But if you ask me, it's wrong. I understand we want to combat fraud, but nobody has brought me any evidence of this happening on a large scale to the point that it needs to be protected in this manner. Doge is out there telling you that there's billions of dollars in fraud in Social Security, and there's not. They can't provide one iota of evidence that any of this fraud is happening. My only hope is that sooner or later we will get a president back in office that will fix this mess. But I'm not too hopeful. But all this administration is doing is trying to make it more painful for the poor, the elderly, and the disabled, because they don't want us existing. They don't want us out there out in public. It's been made very clear that Donald Trump hates disabled people, even disabled veterans that got disabled through war. Donald Trump has said in the past, according to other people in his family, that disabled children should just be allowed to die. They should just be basically be not taken care of until they die. Donald Trump said that to his own family about his own nephew. That's disgusting. And that's just everything he's doing. Everything he's doing is based on that belief that disabled people are unsightly, that elderly people don't need to be seen. And the best way to do that is to deprive them of the financial assistance they need to survive. Let's make it very clear that most of the people on Social Security that don't receive SSI, people that work on, receive SSDI or receive Social Security, they have worked their lives and paid into the system for decades, many of them. That is their money. It is not an entitlement to them, except for the fact that you are entitled to give it to them because they paid for it. I swear to God, this country has its priorities backwards, and they don't care. The government no longer cares. This particular administration is just absolutely abhorrent at what they're doing to the disabled and elderly community. Anyhow, thanks for joining me here at Unapologetically Progressive. I'll see you again for another video down the road. Hope you're having a great day.